Sorry for the wait. I am here. Um, I am here. Sorry for the wait. I just need to open my drink and we will get started. We do have a lot to cover today. Um, So, after I streamed last week for Yu-Gi-Oh, a ban list dropped like a day later or so. It dropped during the YCS. Pretty big ban list, so I decided to give my thoughts on it, especially because we have a big discussion because one of the hits on the ban list does massively impact my deck. In which I'll get to it after I talk about everything else on the ban list, and then we'll go into what I eventually settled on once I talk about the specific hit that affects me. As for the ban list itself, this was like a really strange ban list. But like. Well, the forbiddens are all great. Kashtira not having Debelosis anymore means they can't lock as many zones now, and it means that they can't just snipe one of out of your extra deck anymore. So that's a good ban. Cyberse, I guess, is to stop Exterio stuff that like Super Heavy Samurai does, and it closes off some FTKs. Probably needed to happen a long time ago. A pointer, people complained about it, and like people just don't like hand rip cards, so I could see why you would get rid of that because the trap dust you. It's basically just trap dust you. Branded expulsion, we got because people didn't like the explosion lock. It was undone. Like, yeah, I could see that. And then Scarecrow was kind of weird. It was kind of surprising to see Super Heavy hit so soon. But does it actually kill the deck though? Because I don't think it does. Because you still have Okaushi, you still have like all these. I guess it just makes your deck a little more vulnerable. And I think Giant Sky Oxide basically just tells Super Heavy Samurai players that they have to play more engine. That they can't just run like 50 hand traps. You are gonna have to commit a little bit more. But the weirdest thing about this hit is now I'm not sure where you Ghost Ogre them, right? Because you don't really want to Ghost Ogre to Kaushi, right? Usually you want the Ghost Ogre Scarecrow, and now with Scarecrow banned, what would be the best Ogre target now? Like, maybe the Benkei scale, or you do it to Wagon, maybe? It's gonna be hard to figure out. But still a good hit. We're not gonna talk about the Limit Sprite Barrel because that's the big issue for me. The semis were strange. Herald of Warned Light going back to 2 from 1 because it was 1 because of tier mirrors. So yeah, more copies of Herald for fucking Herald Orange Light for Drytron, I guess. Kashtira Unicorn going to 2 is like a weird hit. Why not just put it to 1? I guess they just want Cashier to be playable-ish, but still hit. Why are we summoning Lightning Storm? No one's playing it. This isn't really a board breaker format, and even then, Lightning Storm is like the worst board breaker. Because if they have a spell trap negate, it just does nothing. Most people just run evenly matched instead. Runic Fountain to 2 is fine, I guess, as a hit to Runic, but it's hilarious they're putting it to 2 just as a play the right damn ratio kind of limit. Because most people are only playing 2, we're only playing 2 Fountain anyway. Sprite Target, it's like a minor hit to Sprite everything in Sprite Search at starter, so seeing it like less in your starting hand, like 5% less commonly, is not that big of a deal. But we're putting Engage to 2. That's worrying because Sky Striker has linkage, and linkage is not a once per turn. Like if you haven't read linkage, you should read it. It's gross. Especially now that they have 2 engage. Uh-oh. The unlimits are kind of interesting. Steam the Cloak is probably won't do anything. There's no help or anything. Gen X Ally Birdman is kind of like a fun unlimit because the card's been on the list for forever and probably won't do anything. Samsara Lotus is this was an FTK, wasn't it? So I guess the FTK is just bad. These days. Plus Firewall's been read. I think Firewall was a part of this FTK. Don't quote me on that though. And Firewall's been redded. Free Spiral Quick Fix. Hold up. We don't have Master Plan. But we have Machine Dupe into Quick Fix again. I'm sure some Spiral player is gonna try to figure out something with this, even with no Master Plan. Even if it's like not good, like that'd be interesting. Hmm. Versatile Starling to free is interesting. It makes Bird Up potentially more playable. I could see Bird Up coming back, but like just relying more on UFD and Zeus more than and the Lyralist cards and Shirag more than yes, you lost Barrier Statue and Bird of Sovereignty, but you can still summon Apex Avian, and you can run the new Tri cards, the new Tri Brigade cards that came out. And I think there's potential for Bird Up now, maybe. Free Draco face up. Hey, Farfa, play Draco pal. But face off is just a nice on limit for Pendulum. Again, it's one of those. If we keep Electromite banned, we can give Pendulum all the copium in the world, and and it's probably fine. We're unlimiting multi-roll. Like with Engage, and with Engage going to 2 and multi-roll going to 3. Is Sky Striker basically at full power? Especially when you consider they have linkage now. Like, people need to read linkage. Like, it's really good. Being able to just get into linkages is even faster by just using Engage. And we have free Kagari into TCG. It's not like OCG where they only have one Kagari. Something to think about. But anyway, let's talk about the real reason we're here. I'll go over the other unlimits first before the ones that directly affected me. I.e. these two. Blaster going to 1 is cute. It basically, I think the reason why Blaster going to 1 is kind of interesting is because it happened to Master Duel and it really didn't do anything. And I think it's because of the Fire Pack that's coming out. Means that you could search it with the new Hita card. And Blaster does enable some combos for the new Fire decks getting support in the Fire Pack. It's probably good in Volcanic, and it's also maybe good in Solomon Great. You could, like, send Spinny and just enable your graveyard by sending, like, Spinny or Foxy or something. But it's also potentially really good for the new Volcanic support that everybody was excited about. Because being able to send any Volcanic name to the grave sounds pretty good. A lot of people were excited for Ding Dong. People thought about it for Sword Soul, but Sword Soul probably doesn't need it anymore. Especially beginning that Denglong was only really good in Sword Soul and Master Duel because specifically when they had like Halcdon to combine to make Denglong really easily. I think if any deck is gonna use Deng, it's probably gonna be like a Pendulum deck or like honestly Virtual World. Like, I actually think the Denglong going to 1, it might just be a nice piece of copium for Virtual World. Because VW played Denglong all the time in Master Duel, and maybe it gives something Virtual World can do. Especially if you do the funny Mep Yang Zing Path shit from Subway Raid Friday. Maybe there's something there. A Right Heart to 1, this is a good hit, but, like, all they did was ban Diablosis and put Unicorn to 2. Is putting a Right Heart to 1 really all they can do? I guess it means if you out the first Arise Heart, they can't Arise Heart again, right? Because if you have the Kaiju, you can answer Kanshira better. Because they can't just make another Arise Heart. They'll still have Shangri-Ira. Like, it's troubling because Shangri-Ira is still unlimited. But I guess without Diablosis and only one Arise Heart, there's less ways to trigger Shangri-Ira, I guess. Naturia's Sacred Tree just feels like a very late limit. Like, it just seems like it was tacked on because Nat Ruinic was already kind of coming out the door, was kind of getting power crept, and hitting the Churia Sacred Tree is just seems like a delayed hit, like Artifact Scythe being banned after Scythe wasn't even relevant anymore, or something like probably like the Misk limit, because they limited Misk like way after Dinosaur was stopped seeing play. Like even Parpa said that he had wanted Misk to be limited for so long, and it took like a year for it to actually happen. Currently, Delicious Memory is another interesting hit. At first I thought it was like just a consistency hit, but it affects Plump in a big way. And with less materials to get with like Plump, it makes Noir less good. You'll still have to run outs to Noir, but Noir will be less insane when it drops. It also impacts happiness in a few ways, I guess. But just the fact that Plump is getting less material, so they can't set up like a as fat of a Zeus or a fat of a Noir is kind of nice. I think the deck is still playable, especially once they get the Dune support. Alright, we put it off long enough. Let's talk about Mathmech Circular and Ciphering Gear Gamma. These hits really bothered me. After the list dropped, for the past couple of days, after the list dropped, this upset me a lot. Because it majorly affects both the decks that I own in paper. Right? The circular limit, I thought, was a devastating hit for Cyberse Libromancer, right? Because the thing about the circular limit is that it doesn't even really impact Mathmech that much. Because Mathmech has free mining, they have free small world, they have like 1 billion small world bridges, they have so many ways to discard. And you can search it off Alan Merchant. But rogue decks that are running Mathmech as an engine, especially if their engine takes up a lot of deck space so you don't have room for 1 billion hand traps, like Libromancer, it impacts us because it's harder for us to open circular. And that messes with Libromancer in a few ways. It basically means that we often have to search circular off of Alan Burchin. It makes us way more vulnerable to Ash. And it basically means that because we have to use Alan Burchin to search circular, that means we can't use it to add diameter. Meaning we can't normal summon diameter for extra link material, which is what helps us cleanly make Witch while having Alan Burchin on the field to tribute to trigger Witch. Right? So, I argued with people. I tried other things people suggested. I tried Manju. I didn't like Manju. Yeah, getting the Search of Ritual is nice with your normal summon, but Manju's a fairy. You can't link it off because most of my extra deck requires Cyberse monsters. I can't even use it to overlay for a Mathmech for like Alan Burchin because Alan Burchin requires Cyberses. And I didn't like how it was just hard to get Manju off your field. You couldn't really use it as link material because most of the stuff in the extra deck requires Cyberse monsters. So it just sits on your field annoyingly most of the time. Even if it did search you a ritual off of that normal summon, it's just a way weaker normal summon than diameter. I tried the fucking spirit monsters that someone else recommended, but I didn't like those either because again they're not Cyberse monsters, so I can't use them to make extra deck monsters. Um, someone pitched an Ignister engine, and I'm like, why? Island conflict with first appearance, and an Ignister package would take up way more space in the deck, and especially it would strain the extra deck too because of infant and stuff. And we really need to run Disciple and Devotee in case we open an Oops All Libro hand. Because if we open an Oops All Libro hand, we have to do the Devotee line to get our tokens. So I didn't like that or that, and I argued with people about whether the spirit monsters were good in the deck, whether Manju was good, and because it just didn't work out for me in testing. And people got really frustrated with me on a certain server, and I got dogpiled constantly on a certain content creator server, and one of the mods who was participating in the dogpiling, by the way, ended up banning me because I was disagreeing with their ideas they were trying to pitch to me to calm me down or whatever about these hits. And the thing is that I was frustrated because of the Gamma hit. Because hitting Gamma to 1 basically makes Gamma unplayable. You're not going to run a Garden in your deck just to play one Gamma. And that basically means that I couldn't go back to Fluffle. Because Fluffle loses really, really, really hard to droll if you don't have Gamma. Because they're going to just Gamma... They're going to droll you the second you drop Patchwork or Toy Vendor. Or if you do Bear Effect from hand to get a Toy Vendor. So I was really frustrated. I argued with people about what direction to take my deck in. And I felt like I was being forced to start over again. Because the things being recommended to me were not working like they said that they would work. Without like massively changing my extra deck. And I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to have to change completely from Cyberse Libromancer to the fucking Mekanko ritual synchro pile, because synchros are expensive, tuners are expensive, diviner is still like way too much for a playset, and I didn't want to pay like $50 for Baron de Fleur. So I was frustrated for a bit. But then Moto came to my rescue. I did come up with something thanks to Moto's help that I think solves the issue of needing to use Alan Burchin to get the circular. Well, but being upset that I couldn't normal diameter. And I do like this idea. And it also helps with extension and reach. And I was also having trouble getting to Alan Burchin, especially if I was running stuff like Manju into Spirits. So, and I like Moto's idea. So I'm going to boot up Omega now to show you that idea that I have to save the deck. Thank you, SJ. Hold on 1 second, I need to authorize. Alright. So, now that Omega is open, we can... So, here is what Moto was able to come up for me. I made changes, obviously, but this is what we ended up settling on. We have to place more UN cards now. The reason for this is that we're also not running Nebula anymore. This is why is that we just have to run pre-diameter now, because we want to increase the chances of us opening diameter now, because being able to open diameter means we can normal summon it. And with only one circular, that means that we're able to search off version more often if we just increase our chances of opening diameter. We're also running one of the hand extenders, edition of Subtraction. This allows us to make version a little more easily with fire if we have Libra access. But there's also one other piece of the puzzle. With only one circular, we need another enabler for Sigma, right? We need another way to get Sigma into the graveyard for extension. And so what Moto came up with is we run Foolish Burial. We run a copy of Foolish Burial. This serves two purposes. We can use it to dump Sigma for extension to help us get into Elm Merchant more easily to be able to search Circular. But also, we can use it like mid combo. Like if we get it off a Heat Soul draw, we can, and we haven't seen diameter yet, and we need to get it in the graveyard for Laplation. We can use Foolish to get diameter in rotation if we didn't see it. And let me tell you, this build is so much more. I'm much more happier with this build than I am with like the spirit thing or the weird Ignister splash or running Manju. It seems pretty good, and I'll do like a test hand just to show. Let me select the appropriate thumbnail. Like, I rarely brick. This 100% does it. Geek. First appearance. Ritual. Fire. Agent. Declare Sigma. This gets us to Elm version. Even if they hand trap us, we're fine. On Elm version, we're fine because we can just get Agent and add fire back to hand and normal fire. And we can just send these two off for Witch. We would just have to ritual summon to trigger Witch. We also have Equation in hand, so it doesn't really matter. So we trigger this. We get Circular. We go circular. We'll send diameter to graveyard to get diameter rotation. And then how do we get to Witch from here? Oh, we have the Reborn. The Reborn gets us the Witch. Trigger circular. Get super factorial. And that easily gets us the Witch. Alimbertion Tribute. Which triggers our Witch because we just banish the E-Tally and we can easily get the Sage and our Cyanide Ritual. We can then trigger Witch and special back Sigma. And then we can go easily gets us Heat Soul. We activate Heat Soul. And we just go sign up, we do the Sage play. We go Sage, we banish Witch, and we banish Fire. Go ahead and make our Disable Worm. Now this is interesting. Because with Sage and Disable Worm, we also added a level 7 synchro to our deck, Quantum Dragon. This could also be like Wind Pegasus. But this allows us to trigger Sage's on synchro effect, and it gets us another material for Dark Fluid and Singularity. Because it's a synchro. And we trigger Sage's effect, and this allows us to add a Cyberse from our card from our graveyard to hand. With this though, I kind of need to still enable super factorial, so in this position I would probably just add the ritual back. Because I want to keep all this stuff engraved for either super factorial or for tokens. But the important thing is just to get the synchro on board. For Dark Fluid and Singularity reasons. And we can go Agent at Rehab Geek Boy. We can special Geek Boy. And what we can do is we can make it Masquerena. And then link off the Sigma for Linguribo. And set 2, make Doombroker and end our turn. And draw will fire Heat Soul to try and draw into Hand Trap, but we did not draw Hand Trap. We'll go IP now. We'll go Singularity here. We'll give up Intervention, but we don't really need it. against this opponent. We will go Super Factorial, mostly to take advantage of our Singularity. We'll make Location. Make it zone Singularity is pointing to. We'll activate Location. We'll go all three. Hand rip a card, pop the monster, and pop a spell. This allows us to trigger Singularity's effect because the monster was in a zone Singularity was pointing to, and we get to special summon any Cyberse. We are going to special Heat Soul. We'll activate Singularity in end step. We'll do a full 4 bounce because we got all the 4 super types engraved. Which gets us the lethal pretty much. You can trigger Heat Soul and draw an extra card. And this is lethal on board. Just against an AI opponent, so take that with a grain of salt. That was just to say, with this build, the circular limit doesn't really affect us that much. Because we have other extenders. So I do regret, like, arguing with people on that Yugioh server and making people angry with me because they were molding, because they thought I was trolling whatever. Even though I was the one getting dogpiled, so yeah. In the end, I guess I was able to make it work, so. Well, let's do some actual practice games with it now. Although with the format changes, I kind of want to change my side, actually. I kind of want Kaijus now that Laurai's Heart's at 1. I think Nibiru is less impactful, but I want 1 per cross-out target. I kind of want still want board breakers, but I want at least 2 Kaijus. Maybe with Origin Story I only need 1 Cosmic, so I can run pre-Kaiju. Cam Seal. Mostly to help against Pearly and to out those singular Laurai's Heart that's legal now. But I'm gonna just practice in casual. I'm not gonna play ranked. I'm not gonna play best of threes anyway. I'm just gonna practice in casual. I don't feel like playing against, because they hit Cash Tira so lightly. Cash Tira is still gonna be everywhere in ranked. They're going first. I opened 1 hand trap. Kuji Curse. Ah, it's a Dire Viewer. I hear this card is pretty good, so I'm going to imperm it. The problem is I don't really have an out to boss stage. Well, that was annoying. Har. The funny shit is I have the combo. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to play under Lib. Set 1. Okay. So it's Generator World Legacy? That's strange. But they have no boss stage, from looks of it. World Legacy Monstrosity. Oh, special Har, special Mardell. Oh, that's how they're getting to boss stage. But they can't boss stage this turn. Alright, let's start by just going sign-up mining. We have circular, so we don't need foolish. We're just going to get diameter to hand, I think. I guess we don't have diameter anymore, though, because of fucking Har. We'll go circular. We can dump Sigma. Negated circular. But it's fine, we got a ritual and we got Sigma. But the problem, we can't search circular because we opened circular and they had Har. I guess we I think we just do the devotee. We can still go devotee. We have to do devotee here. We get Geek Boy. Geek Boy. Use Geek Boy to get our field spell. Use that to add agent. Hold up, I got a better idea. We can still get the Sigma. Trick is here. We're not going to make Alimbertion, actually. I think the trick is we don't make Alimbertion here. We actually just go straight to Cyberse Witch. Because we can use Agent to trigger Witch. We'll just banish the Foolish. We'll get Sage and F. I can't believe that worked. I cannot believe that shit worked. I really didn't think I was gonna win with that kind of scuffed line that I had to do to play around Har. Common Dire L, I guess. Let's play one more. Like a few more. So that one was kind of over kind of fast. Ooh, I actually get to go first this time. Oh, this does it. We have an extender in hand. Yield Sage. Gets us to Geek Boy, which gets us to the Libros. No disruptions. That gets us to Fire. And we can go Fire. Which gets us to... I don't think we need Agent, we need Doom Broker. Because we have an extender in hand, we can go Subtraction, target Geek Boy. And this is Albertion. Which, of course, gets us Circular. And we go, of course, Circular Dump Sigma. Sigma. Circular. Super Factorial. And it gets us to Witch. We have a Spell Engrave, though. We do not have a Spell Engrave. Unfortunate. We didn't open a spell is the problem. That's unfortunate, but we have a way to play around this. We'll tribute Albertion to get back Circular. We're actually gonna make Wicked over Heat Soul so we can get the Diameter. By Ritual Summoning. Geek Boy hand, Geek Boy in field, so we can trigger Wicked. Which gets us... we just need to banish Witch, and this gets us the Diameter. We can go Diameter Effect. The Special Fire. We can get our Intervention. Do we have free... We don't even have pre-Mathfax Engrave. Oh, but we have Diameter, so we're fine. The end board is weaker, but it does it. Since we weren't able to do Sage because we didn't get a spell in rotation for Witch. But this end board does it, just no Heat Soul and no let's call it no Cyberse Sage engrave. No the Save Worm. So it's kind of weaker, but we got options. We still have the Laplacian play. We still got intervention. And we could still make like we could go for like White Woman, or we could make Dark Flute if we need to. Drytron Nova. Probably fine. Let's see where Mr. Tron is going. What's this? Anima? It's not pointing to anything, so it's not really a threat. Or just link it off to link it off. Let's get the Drytron name engrave, I guess. Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. That's probably fine. Cyberse. Oh, my old Fluffle tech. That's funny. Zeta Tribute Ben 10. Probably not worth interventioning. Advanced Ritual Art. What the fuck are they cooking? What are they cooking? Why are you playing Advanced Ritual over fucking Mediona's fucking Drytron? Why are you playing ARA in Drytron? Drytron's Ritual spell was much better. I don't think I do anything yet. Showed you the trillion. What? I've never seen this card. Oh, so it's pre-preparational rites, but it's a monster, I guess. I think this is a good intervention target. Yeah, we'll special fire. We'll add agent back. Geonator Transverser. Yeah, I have to IP here. Have to IP here. How many targets do I got for dark? Just the one token? I could Dark Fluid for, like, Heat Soul, I guess. I think I just go White Woman, actually. Just get them off the graveyard. Like, now's a good time as any to go for Laplation. How about I just rip the card out of their hand? Gets rid of the Link Revo as well. Oh, I only have to tribute Q, and this does have a negate. ARA, negate with inflation. Well, Fireburst just wins the game here. So we just go Agent. Agent, add back Fire. Fire, reveal Fireburst, Fire, we'll add another one of these, make Fireburst, sending Sage and this, make Doomsbroker, Agent, we go Battle. And then Fireburst should be lethal. I don't know what they were cooking, but we were able to stop them from doing whatever bullshit they were trying to do. I think maybe they were trying to make maybe Amber Factor, I guess. Like, I could see those cards working in like Amber Factor Pain Turbo. But I think those two games, because one of those games is a fucking Drytron game with a lot of decision points, I think that'll be good for enough practice for today. I did want to practice too much. But with those, I just want to ride these two wins as just good enough for TCG for today. I talked about the Banlist, I showed off what my new list can do. It's time for Master Duel.